par for the course.
Yep. So that's about the neutral rares, and which is 2 rares and 6 commons. So now we're going to see a few more exciting cards and some of the rarer ones too. So the next card is Chromaggus. Where is it? There.
Yeah.
The first legendary we will talk about. Which is, surprise, a dragon.
Yeah.
With also a very new mechanic. Whenever you draw a card, put another copy into your hand. So whatever card you draw after you play Chromaggus will be twice in your hand.
Yeah, and that's one of the cards that you want to have staying on the board for a long time. You don't just care about the stats on it, but like if you can keep it on the board for a couple of turns, it's huge. Which is why it's nice that it dodges the big game hunter with 6 attack.
Yeah, it's in the interesting tech slot like Kel'Thuzad is, where for 8 mana you get a 6/8, which is just the maximum of attack you can get without being vulnerable to BGH, and which is also quite some HP pool, so it's hard for things like for classes like Druids or something to kill it, or just to kill it without a removal spell or something.
Yeah.
Like with regular damage, it's pretty hard to kill.
You could usually kill 2 minions with it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. I mean, I don't think it's gonna see that much play, but at the same time, I think like some people can use it and then surprise people with it. And also, it works well, kind of like how people use Kel'Thuzad. It's not used that much, but sometimes it just people play it and you get massive value out of it. Like it works pretty well together with stuff like loot hoarders, for example. If you have a surviving loot hoarder, right, then you trade
or you play Power Shield or something.
Oh, Power Shield. That's a very good point. Yeah. Because it's so
I feel like we're getting nearer and nearer to build a Dragon Priest. Like many of these cards can work very well in Priest, I think.
Yeah. I think dragons are gonna see a lot of play in Priest in particular overall. They just work pretty well with them because they like slow decks and all that.
Yeah. I also feel like the Chromaggus, if we compare it to Kel'Thuzad, then they both... I feel like it's kind of interesting to compare them because the Kel'Thuzad also like makes a huge difference if it stays on the board, but it's more conditional because you actually need a board. And you can either trade into or at least like have, I don't know, a Sludge Belcher on the board to protect it that gets resurrected every time. But with this guy, you can play it on an empty board and just make your opponent's turn awkward if they don't have like removal, like especially a hex or something. And then every card you draw will be twice there, which is especially nice in a control matchup where you have more cards, gives you card advantage, but it doesn't draw you nearer into fatigue.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm not seeing it to be played over Ysera, which is kind of a same mechanic somehow. If you don't abuse it with cards like Loot Hoarder or general card draw.
Powered Shield, as you mentioned. I think that's a big one. But Ysera is also 9 mana.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
But it survives a little bit longer, and it gives you more quality cards most of the time. That are... will be interesting to see if the Chromaggus sees play.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to see that much play, but I think it's going to find a few decks that it excels in.
It's kind of like Kel'Thuzad in this regard, too.
And hey, it's a dragon, right? So it has that dragon synergy.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so the next legendary card is Emperor Thaurissan. And I think this is like one of the most scary, if not the scariest card in the whole expansion, I feel like.
Yeah, I find it quite interesting. It feels like it might become a deck kind of like Loatheb that you see in almost every deck.
Yeah, I thought something too. It's also on a different spot. It has the same stats as Sylvanas for the same mana cost. And we all know that Sylvanas from its stats is already like somewhat awkward sometimes, but the fact that the Emperor triggers at the end of your turn, which makes your whole hand like super cheap.
You know which deck it would be good in? Priest.
Ah. Do you think so?
Yeah, because priests are very often have very big hands.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you get like 7 or 8 cards all cost 1 less mana, that's crazy value. Because you basically paid 1 too much mana for the card itself, right?
Yeah.
Because it's 6 mana for 5/5 instead of 5. But if you like and you know what if it survives another turn? Like all your cards are 2 mana cheaper? Like that's insane.
Yeah,
It's just that snowball effect.
yeah, you can imagine your opponent like, okay, I can't kill it this turn.
Yeah,
He has
okay.
5 cards in his hand. I'm probably going to lose.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like it's an interesting mechanic overall because people will be able to do stuff they usually can't. Because the 10 mana limit, if you're not a druid, sets you very
Oh my god, combo for
tight
7.
restrictions.
You could play this on turn 6, play the combo on turn 7.
Yeah, for example. But like it can make for a huge tempo turn like this.
Yes.
But it can also make like for some ridiculous turns for, I don't know, 10 mana. So imagine Freeze Mage often having problems to kill you in 1 turn, but they kill you in 2 turns. But now they can play their whole hand.
Yeah.
And
Especially if you have a Sorcerer's Apprentice or something too, which you can then play for 1 mana.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, overall, I feel like if I designed the card, I would probably let it trigger at the start of your turn. So that your opponent has some, like, a chance to kill it. But at the end of your turn is super powerful, I feel like.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
definitely-
even if you have 2 cards, it's basically like a delayed innervate for the next
Yeah,
turn.
because you gain 2 mana and you paid 1 too much mana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a 5/5 is fine for 5.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, very strong, and it's gonna be out in the first week, so we're gonna see it already here. in a couple
Yeah, I
of-
wanted to talk about this later, but I didn't look into it now, but wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will see this guy around. At least it's a legendary, so you don't put
Oh yeah,
more
if
than
there
one
were
into
2 of
your
them,
deck.
it would change the entire game, I find.
But I think it's pretty scary, and if I would have to point a finger at what new card might get nerfed, but we know that Blizzard isn't very likely to nerf cards anyways, but I would point
yeah.
on this one, probably.
Well, I mean, the first thought is that it's gonna be really powerful. Now, I guess we'll see, but I feel good about this one.
Yes. And it's well, for Arena, most of the legendaries are nice, but this one in particular should be
Oh
pretty good.
yeah, awesome arena card.
Okay. So the next legendary is the Majordomo Executus, probably one of the most fun cards in the new.
Yeah, fun,
Set.
but I'm not so sure about good.
Okay, so we should probably explain what replace your hero with Ragnaros means. It means you get to 8 health, like the Draxus usually does put you on 15 health max. You're at 8 max, and you will get a new hero power that deals 8 damage to an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, the problem is it's 8 health.
Yeah.
And also it costs, yeah, well, it's 9 mana just like the Raxus, but the Raxus can kind of be used to like heal yourself back up. This one doesn't heal you up. It sets you at 8.
Well, if it dies.
Yeah, if it dies.
So, like,
it's pretty likely to die though. It only has 7 life and
yeah.
it dies to big
So
game
let's
stuff.
let's go over it. Like a 9 mana play is already pretty slow. This guy doesn't do anything immediately to the board. It doesn't give you a card or something. And if we imagine this dying to Big Game Hunter,
Then the other guy just needs to do 8 damage.
yeah, you're sitting at 25 health playing this, and I don't know. Big Game Hunter, yeah, and then
Fireball plus a minion on the board.
yeah, GG.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it can really work. It's like
Actually like in World of Warcraft. I think didn't Ragnar slay Majordomo Executus for calling him too soon or something?
I don't remember. I
think he was pretty angry about getting summoned and just killed the Majordomo
That
right
actually
away.
that makes perfect sense. The card kind of funny, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Too
one of
soon.
the fun cards that you can make some stories with, but overall I don't see it work too well. I don't actually know if it's any good in arena either, but because the drawback is so huge that you might just lose the game right away by
And then
dying
it's
to 8
also-
damage.
And then it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Also, like
It's not even a dragon.
right, and many games are decided before turn 9. And if you have like a late game control deck, do you really want to get yourself down to 8 life? Like, it's just
Okay, looks like we're on one line here. So
yeah.
it's fun, but well, if it was a regular expansion, I wouldn't want to craft it probably
Oh, no.
at any time.
I would want it in a pack.
I'm not even sure about this one. I
I
would
want
like
for the
it
collection.
2 goldens in one pack, so I could just
Or do you get like a golden Ragnaros hero if you have the golden version of that?
probably.
Yeah. Yeah. But if I had it, I want it in gold.
And of course the emotions will probably be like super nice.
Oh, right, emotes.
Yeah, like imagine Ragnar saying "well played." Oh.
I cannot imagine it, which is why I want to see it.
Yeah, we will. So our next legendary card is Nefarian, which is like the final boss of the tier 2
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't raid at this time, I think, in World of Warcraft, so
But
I don't think that the card
called-
mechanic itself has much to do with the raid
Oh,
encounter.
it does actually, because the boss in World of Warcraft would use different abilities to different classes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it would, all the hunters, it would destroy their bows, and like it was all kinds of weird mechanics. But yeah, it's kind of related.
Okay. So it's also a 9 mana card, like the
Yeah.
Majordomo, but this time at least it's a dragon. Is it
And it
better
does-
than Nostormer?
Yes, I would say so. Getting 2 free cards is nice, but it is pretty expensive. But again, I think it might. Okay, you know what? I think it's kind of similar to Chromaggus and Ysera actually, because they're like these expensive cards that give card advantage, and they're also pretty nice by themselves. And I think it's also it. You know what? It fits into priest.
Yeah, they're stealing stuff, right?
Yeah, and also the often, a priest is one of the few classes that actually play Ysera in constructed sometimes nowadays.
Well, I haven't seen it around recently, but I used to
that's
play
true.
before GVG. I used to play priest decks with Ysera also. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's probably not gonna see that much play.
Yeah, I think so too. But at least it gives you card advantage without drawing you into fatigue again.
Yeah, you know what? Even if it gets big game hunted, you still have the 2 spells you got. So
Yeah, but you might like have Sacrificial Pact and I don't know.
but
Demon
maybe
Fire.
You're against maybe you're against a Warlock who uses Jaraxxus, then it's, you know.
It's like getting a Thoughtsteal with 2 Blade Flurries or something. It might end up being super terrible.
Oh well, I had a Fort Steal the other day where they stole Death Spite and Dread Corsair. So and it's like that's like my key move there.
Yeah,
right?
the problem is that it draws cards that don't have to be played by your opponent. So it might actually be something like Sacrificial Pact and Demon Fire. Then
Yeah, but think about it. If it's a sacrificial pact, it means you're against a warlock, which is actually kind of likely to run demons, especially nowadays.
yeah.
You see a lot of demons, like Mal'Ganis, and there are a couple of demons in this very expansion, so it might see even more play.
Well, we'll see, but it probably like at least you could play the spell with it because it's 0 mana. But Nefarian itself will most likely end up being your only play. So
Yeah.
it's probably a little bit too slow again.
I agree.
But actually, it might work in some decks that I don't know. Maybe we will see some hand dragon decks with other classes or something. And then you
It's a
play this,
dragon.
and then you get 2 additional cards. Then you draw another card, and then you can play your Twilight Drake thing, or I don't know, which is also a dragon. I don't know. We'll probably don't see it too much in Constructed, and in Arena again, it's a legendary, it's a big body.
Yeah.
It's
In
it's
Arena,
nice for
I'd
that.
love to have it. Definitely.
Okay, so the last legendary was revealed very early also. It's Rend Blackhand.
Yeah.
If you're holding a dragon, you can destroy a legendary minion. For very poor stats, though.
Yeah, and it's very expensive. 7 mana for like a overgrown big game hunter that requires you to hold a dragon.
Well, on the other hand, most legendaries are 6 mana plus, so you wouldn't play it before turn 7 anyways. And if you're running a dragon deck, you probably have at least one or two big dragons in the deck also.
One of the most... Yeah, okay, right. You know what? It might not be that bad, actually. I mean, people gave it a bad rep when they first saw it, and so did I.
Yeah,
but
me
thinking
too.
about it, honestly, if you use it against, say, low-fab or something, it's not that bad to kill a 5/5 and then have an 8/4 for 7 mana, because people will happily throw a fireball at low-fab, right?
Yeah.
And that's 4 mana. So then for the 3 extra mana, you get an 8/4. That's not that bad. The problem, of course, is that it's very conditional. You need to be holding a dragon, and you only want to play it when the enemy has a legendary on the board.
Well, I don't see the condition of holding a dragon that much of a problem, because if you're playing a dragon deck, you're likely to have at least 2 or 3 big dragons into it. And by turn 7, you will most likely have drawn at least one of them.
It's true.
And
it's not a huge drawback, but it is a drawback.
Yeah,
because, I mean, sometimes you don't. And especially if you top deck at late game, for example, well, that is also something that does happen.
And, like, things changed. Like, if we have seen it, I don't know, 2 expansions earlier, that might have been very bad. But now, like, every deck is running at least 1 legendary into it.
Yeah.
Like, even tempo decks like Mage are running Dr. Boom and Antonidas. And even Zoo tends to run Dr. Boom and Lothab. So you are likely to have at least targets into your opponent's deck with this.
Yeah,
and if you're playing a control dragon deck, then you're like super happy, I think, to get much value by destroying your opponent's, I don't know, Ysera or whatever.
Oh, Ysera, oh my god, yeah.
And getting a board with it. And making your opponent at least have to use, I don't know, a swipe. Like, you can destroy scenarios and make your opponent swipe or something, this guy. So that should create at least a 2-for-1 usually.
Yeah, you're right. The thing, yeah, because it's gonna take at least 1 card to get rid of Rend, because he's gonna kill anything that runs into it, right?
Yeah.
So you need either to sacrifice a minion to kill it or use a spell of some kind. And you're right. I mean, most legendaries are like 5 mana plus, right? But Lothab is one of the cheaper ones. And
yeah, well, you don't want to destroy Blood Mage Thalnos with her, that's for sure. Or even, well, maybe a big Van Cleef even.
Oh, you definitely want to destroy an Advent Cleave, because honestly, most of the time it gets played as like a 10/10.
Yeah. And it can also kill, the good thing about it, it's not as conditional as maybe the Big Game Hunter is. So it can destroy like a Kel'Thuzad or a Chromaggus or whatever, like things that don't fit into the 7+ category.
Well, it's worse versus handlocks.
Yeah, that's true. But overall, I think it will fit into control dragon decks, which I don't know how viable they will be in the end, but it will fit into this. Priest, maybe warrior too.
Maybe.
They also run Alexstrasza, so I could imagine seeing this being played regularly in warrior, control warrior or something. I don't know.
We'll see.
But in a control matchup, it would get huge value, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
For Arena, it's probably super irrelevant because
Oh
it's
my
a
God,
legendary.
Arena, it's like one of the worst
Your
cards.
opponent has to have a legendary, and you have to hold a dragon. I think you'd never want to pick it, I guess.
No, unless which other legendaries would you have to get offered to pick this one? I'm not even sure. I think it might be the worst legendary in Arena.
Maybe Net Pagel and
Not Pagel, he's not that bad.
Tinkmaster is also bad, so I think.
Tankmaster is kind of bad, yeah.
Well, yeah. You probably won't see it ever in Arena, I suppose.
Probably not.
Okay, so that's about the neutral cards, and so now that we know what all classes will have in the to choose from, I think we can go to the class cards, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we start alphabetically, so nothing gets. So we start with Druid. Don't want to discriminate anything here. And the first card is the Volcanic Lumberer,
Oh man.
which is a burning tree.
When I saw that, it's like I had even more hate for it than I had for Rend Blackhand. It's like but then now I'm thinking about what you're saying. But then druids don't really have that much AoE.
No, and not that much tokens also.
Also, a token druid, but still. Then you don't want to play a card like this in token druid. So and it dies to big game hunter, of course, unlike the Ancient of War, everyone's favorite druid taunt. So I don't really
probably
see
the most the favorite tree in Druid also.
Oh, that's Ancient of Law.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, like even comparing it with the common card, the Ivanbach Protector, an 8/8 for 8, like
the one attack doesn't matter. Like it
It
kills
doesn't.
everything anyways.
You're right. Well, it doesn't kill Ragnaros. But yeah, actually it would be better as a 6/8. But then it's still so expensive.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're lucky, you kill like 4 minions, and then you can get it for 5 mana, and that's good. But
Yeah, it's hard to imagine to get this work, and also I don't know. It dies to both Big Game Hunter and Black Knight.
and Rend. Oh wait, no, it doesn't die to Rend Blackhand.
No, it's rare.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, I don't feel like it fits the druid theme. Also,
it would be better in Warlock.
yeah, or I don't know, paladin or something.
Paladin would be great in Paladin. It also makes more sense thematically in other. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me.
No.
It just seems out of place. I mean, the only thing is that it's a big taunt. I mean, that's pretty druid-like, but
Yes, but you could
the whole sacrificing minions thing.
Yeah, I don't know. You would have to, I don't know, especially because they have to die during your turn, of course, because you have to play them. So I don't know. You wouldn't need to have a Shredder and I don't know, a Sludge Belcher, and then you can sacrifice both of them away and into something else that also dies, and then you can play it for 5.
Wow.
And then it dies to Black Knight. So I don't really see this. I hope we are getting proved wrong here, but I hope we are getting proven wrong, but I think that's not going to see much play. Maybe in some budget druid decks where you want like Engine of War but can't afford it. But even then, in the classical ramp druid, it doesn't fit the theme also because you're most likely to have 1 minion on the board anyways.
In the really cheap druid decks, like if you're just starting playing, then you're gonna play with the Ivanbach Protectors because those are, right?
I don't know.
So yeah, in Arena though, of course.
Yeah.
I would love it in Arena.
Yeah, but
So.
on the other hand, like it might be anti-aggro tech where you, I don't know, swipe something and then can play this. But even then, it's too expensive. I don't know.
Yeah, because the thing is, in those taunt druid decks where it's like ramping up for the taunt, then you usually only have 1 minion on the board every turn, which means, well, no sacrifice of minions. So yeah.
Yeah, you can kill maybe 2 and then you play this for 7. Even for 7, it's not great. And you want to play an Engine of War. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Silly.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm not hyped about the other Druid deck also card also, which is the Druid of the Flame.
Definitely not hyped.
So I feel like for a long time people called Paladin to be the most like it always gets bad cards and doesn't work and blah. But I feel like Druids didn't get too many good cards from Goblins
Class
versus
expansion.
Gnomes.
Yeah, I totally agree. Most of the cards were rather weak. Like Tree of Life, come on.
Yeah, Tree of Life just works in Mildred.
Yeah,
and
but Druid doesn't work. So that's the problem. I mean, people had fun with it for a while, but how often do you see them at Legend? Pretty
yeah,
much
and then
never.
the keeper of the how's it called? I don't know the
keep
centaur thing.
Keeper Tender.
Grove Tender. Yeah,
Grove Tender.
we got it. Like this card doesn't see play either, and I can't remember the other ones. But when I was building Druid decks, and I feel like the combo Druid decks that we see around now are also just running next cards plus a Dr. Boom or Shredder, so it's just neutral minions. So I feel like Druid getting a little bit overseen here again.
I think it might be because Druids were seeing too much play in Blizzard statistics before. So
like I'm not saying Druid is weak or something, but just
because
that they don't get really good new cards.
Druid was really good after Knack, so I guess you were just afraid of making it too strong.
Could be, and maybe maybe we'll see Dragon Druid. It's not going to have any of these new Druid cards in it, but let's see.
But you can ramp up to the dragons, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were supposed to talk about the Druid of the Flame. You know?
Yeah. But I'm not hyped to see a 2/5 for 3 mana and also a 5/2 for 3 mana.
Think about it: power creep versus a Magma Rager.
Yeah, well, it's a class card, so whatever.
Wait, it's so much better than a Magma Rager. You're still calling it terrible. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It's true.
Has one more life for the same mana. If you play it as a 5/2, and the thing is, most of the time you would probably want to play it as a 2/5. Now, if it had taunt, then I think it would say play.
Yeah, then it would be like the mech thing for 4 mana.
Yeah, like then it would be a really good
anti-aggro.
Like think about the Face Hunters. It could kill 2 minions easily, or you would have to stand there and a boosted kill command.
I can just imagine it as anti-aggro tag, and then again, you have to play it, and then you have to wait, and then you have to trade, and then you have to wait, and then you have to trade, and then it got value. So
yeah, it really needs its taunt, I think. The 2/5 version, and then the 5/2. I don't think it's ever really gonna be like it's kind of like the Ancient of War. Like no one plays this as a 10/5.
Yeah. So I think the outcome of this will be Beast. Or I think it might be.
Oh.
So you could see play with, I don't know, Druid of the Fang, which doesn't see too much play now.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know actually, but
because I'm just looking at the girl in the picture, but then again, the Druid of the Fang doesn't look like a beast on the picture either.
Yeah. So I could imagine that this might happen, but like a 2/5 is quite resilient and probably won't die at this turn.
A 2/5 is quite decent for turn 3.
Yeah, and then I don't know, Druid of the Fang was 4 mana? So you could imagine, but Druid of the Fang is like one card that you might want to use, no 5 mana, that you might to use, but you can't really build a deck around it with the cards that we have seen so far, so I'm not sure. Probably.
Good in Arena.
It's okay in Arena.
No, it's a free drop. Free drops are really important.
Yeah,
It's hard to get enough of the good ones. I would definitely pick it in Arena versus most cards.
Yeah, and it's in Druid, that's right. So you can actually kill like a 2/3 with it and still have a 2/2 around.
Yeah.
2/3 actually.
I mean, it is a cheap card. It's not like it's a 5 mana card or anything.
Yeah, it's not like a Grim Patron.
Well, I'm gonna try to make Grim Patron work. We'll see.
Okay. But we're not hyped up about the Druid cards anyhow.
No, definitely not.